Disney decided to do some mid-year house cleaning at the beginning of the week by announcing that, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and be cutting a couple of jobs. So what exactly is a couple of jobs over at the Magic Kingdom? Well, that would be about hundreds of people. I beg your pardon? Yeah, across multiple different disciplines. And yeah, at least instead of a pink slip, you'll get one that's rainbow colored because June is Pride Month, baby. Disney laying off hundreds in television and film, entertainment, corporate finance. Let's take a look at the damage. Major layoffs are underway Monday at the Walt Disney Corporation, with several hundred employees impacted globally. Deadline has learned the bulk of them are across divisions in Disney Entertainment, including marketing for both film and television, as well as the television publicity, casting, and development. Also affected are Disney corporate financial operations. That's interesting because I think, well, yesterday you would have seen the video in regards to Tony Gilroy, the former showrunner of Andor, coming out and saying that, yeah, Disney, yeah, they kind of told me when I was in there trying to get some financing for the second season of Andor that, yeah, streaming is dead and Disney is fucking broke. So if we could just go ahead and extrapolate this appropriately, oh yeah, Disney's doing some cost cutting because they spent way too much on streaming, way too much on finding those people to act in the shows that nobody's watching, getting rid of the departments that tried to market this crap that didn't ultimately end up working. And oh yeah, developing, well, here's the thing, man, there are a bunch of ideas that were put to film that were never really properly fleshed out. So who exactly are you firing anyways? According to the source, the size of the cuts in the film and the TV side of Disney Entertainment is comparable. No teams are being eliminated. The majority of Disney Entertainment television staffers are said to be based in Los Angeles. Oh, yet another kick in the shin of an already dying city. How there's so many reports that are out there. Haven't covered one quite yet. Might in the future, but Los Angeles very quickly falling into the same doom loop that its Northern California brethren and San Francisco has befallen. Yes, they're very much in a doom loop, not too dissimilar to the fall that Detroit had seen after the big automotive boom. Funnily enough, precipitated by the same type of union greed, but I digress. Another story for another time. Deadline will continue its coverage as more details, yes, by those impacted emerge during what is expected to be a tough day at Disney campuses. But yes, the names of the TV development and casting executives affected by the layoffs have emerged, and frankly, I don't care about individuals losing their job. I'm just hoping for a more streamlined approach from Disney because, god damn it, man, they have access to way too many important and popular IPs to just let them stay in the hands of these incompetent buffoons. This is the fourth and largest round of layoffs in the past 10 months that has affected various Disney television ops. They are part of an ongoing cost-cutting process at the traditional media companies as they reshape their business to focus on streaming, really, while facing economic headwinds. Disney's Bob Iger set the pace upon his return as CEO, right, establishing a goal of at least $7.5 billion in cost reductions at the start of 2023, with about 7,000 jobs eliminated that year. In early March, just under 200 Disney employees were laid off, representing almost 6% of the workforce at ABC News Group at Disney Entertainment Networks, including Freeform and FX. A big restructuring last October involved the shutdown of ABC Signature, with its operations folded into 20th Television. Yeah, it was so much better when, streamlining that name, because the cumbersome 20th Century Fox, that was just far too clunky, right? Jesus. And the consolidation of ABC and Hulu original scripted drama and comedy teams. It resulted in about 30 Disney Entertainment television layoffs. Last July, DET underwent a round of staff cuts that impacted nearly 140 people, representing 2% of the total workforce, 60 of them at National Geographic. And yeah, now we have hundreds of people laid off. And apparently, well, it's working because they got the stock prices for Disney out here, and this was after the cuts were announced, and this is accurate as of Tuesday evening. And you can see, despite the cratering the stock prices earlier this year, they're right up to just about where they were at the tail end of Q3 of 2024. Okay, and especially over the past month, they're actually up quite a bit. So I don't know why. Maybe just, getting rid of some excess payroll, why anybody would really be that excited about Disney's future, because, well, for every Lilo and Stitch you put into the theaters, you have, just this year, 3 different Marvel films that are going to flop. You don't have a Lucasfilm offering until May of next year, which is going to be, oh boy, that's going to be an eye-opening experience for Kathleen Kennedy over there. I thought Star Wars was an evergreen product that we could just stick more bland brunette women in. It's like, nope, you killed it. Thanks. So wonderful. You could go ahead and accomplish that. Just wheel out your cowboy hat bedecked dog enthusiasts to just go ahead and jangle more keys. Maybe they'll just get the clapping seals to applaud them and say that, oh, this is Star Wars. Dave Filoni really knows Star Wars. And you've also got Pixar coming out with Elio, and that's, I think, next month rather, not next week, but next month, and that's squaring up to be a bomb. And then you've also got the pictures, and I guess this is kind of anecdotal evidence, and your big money driver where Disney does a lot of their financial recuperation. Your parks are kind of empty. Now that Universal Studios has launched their Epic Universe, you're kind of losing the battle of the summer, but maybe that's where the optimism is. Maybe people are still thinking that, you know what, people are going to be coming down to Disney World and Disneyland, everything's going to be great and everything's going to turn around. Maybe that's what they're seeing. Maybe that's what the enthusiasm is all about, because the rest of it, I really don't understand. Or perhaps it's simply that Walt Disney as a brand, as a company, is stronger than the rest of the competition, because you take a look at what was once their stiffest competitor, well, they've fallen on a bit of hard times as Warner Brothers Discovery credit rating cut to junk bond status on linear TV's decline. What exactly does that mean? Oh, there's no hope left in Warner Brothers. They are swimming in debt, and they are a bad bet in the long-term financial world. Let's take a look at this. Warner Brothers Discovery has been downgraded to BB Plus, or junk bond status, the 25 and 26 by S&P Global over linear TV weakness as a Hollywood studio continues to pivot to a streaming space. Yeah, that's interesting, because they just announced that they were going to be rebranding once again Max back to HBO Max, which was a stupid decision to begin with, but hey, better late than never when it comes to admitting your mistakes, right? But as far as I know, like, Warner doesn't, like, I'm sure they probably have, okay, and especially with, you know, the Discovery stuff, they have somewhat of a vested interest in traditional cable, right? TNT, TBS, the Turner suite of stations. I think they're still trying to hawk CNN, but none of that shit is really working. Meanwhile, you have Disney with the albatross of ESPN and ABC hanging around their neck at this point in time, and they're doing reasonably fine, but you guys, just can't make it work, huh? Weird. The ratings firm continues its outlook for WBD as stable, but pointed to weak credit metrics rather overall to explain its bond rating markdown to speculative grade. We lowered our 25 and 26 forecast due to continued challenges in WBD's linear television network segments, which we forecast will offset growth at its studios and streaming segments. Meaning that, yeah, the longer that they stick with the cable and the traditional outlets, the more that's going to have a knock-on for what they want to do in the future, and it's going to end up negatively affecting their overall product, which is interesting, right? Because this is some news that dropped, right at the tail end of May, right? And they've been figuring out what to do with it moving forward, going to their shareholders and saying, hey, you know how we could go ahead and get out ahead of this stuff? By giving David Zaslav a massive fucking pay rise. But guess what? Shareholders, they weren't having it, okay? So Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders reject David Zaslav's $51.9 million pay packet, but it's a symbolic vote. But it is, in fact, a very important one. It was kind of like, what was that, last year or the year before? I might be getting my timelines a little bit mixed up, but it's still a salient point of comparison. There was an attempt to go ahead and put a surrogate for Ike Perlmutter back on the Disney board. I think it was at the beginning of last year, because of a wavering trust in Bob Iger as CEO over there at Disney. Ultimately, that ended up failing, but the way that the media was pushing it is, oh my God, Ike Perlmutter's just trying to, force his way back into a company that he was bitter about, leaving back in the cut. Didn't you hear? He said that Black Panther would be a bad idea and that female superheroes don't sell. It's like, well, don't quite listen to him on that last part, because that ended up being, proven irrefutably true. But no, he's just a bitter old man and he's a Trump supporter. See, he has residence at Mar-a-Lago, and that makes him a bad man because we hate Trump too. And yeah, it doesn't even matter if he gets one person on the board. It's just basically symbolic anyways. So the fact that you have a company that is swimming in debt, that is having its stock downgraded, and a CEO wanting to get a big payday, I mean, it's a bold strategy, but the shareholders hyping up, well, it's a little bit more than symbolic, okay? This was a vote of confidence, and Zaslav failed. Shareholders of Warner Brothers Discovery have voted to reject the 2024 compensation package of its top executives, including Zaslav. WBD had held its annual meeting Monday, and shareholders voted down a say on pay vote in the margin of they lost by just about 250,000 votes. Zaslav's 2024 compensation package rose to 51.9 million. Jesus. The vote is symbolic in nature, as the vote is non-binding. However, other companies in the media and entertainment space have adjusted their compensation plans in the wake of shareholder rejections of pay packages. Netflix, for example, made significant changes to its executive compensation after shareholders rejected its executive compensation in 2023. Oh, but it's just simply symbolic. Don't worry about it. AMC Theater shareholders have also rejected CEO Adam Aron's pay package that same year. Entertainment business is among the industries with the highest total executive compensation among sectors. I wonder why. In the 2024 annual meeting, shareholders had only just barely approved WBD's executive pay packages. And this year's Institutional Shareholder Services, an influential shareholder advisory firm, recommended that shareholders reject the pay packages in light of inadequate responsiveness and unmitigated pay for performance misalignment. Yeah, exactly, because we've talked about, we've talked quite a bit about the failure of Warner Brothers on a multitude of fronts, okay? Specifically in regards to gaming, they just took a, $300 million bath in this past year with multiple failures, like the collapse of Mortal Kombat 1, which that one hurts a lot. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League being, at one point in time, the biggest flop, at least the biggest perceivable flop, and then Concord came along and was like, hold my soy latte. Closing down of multiverses. It was just loss after loss after loss on the gaming front. And then in regards to the theaters, like, good thing Minecraft was a hit this year, because Superman, I don't know what that's ultimately going to end up doing. And good for you on Sinners, but they were taking baths last year. It was tough on Warner Brothers. And then when it comes to streaming, just how many shows have come and gone and how they've been greenlit for more seasons, and fans are just not happy with the direction. For as much as I'll go ahead and, stick up for some of the decisions in House of the Dragon Season 2, kicking the can down the road for Season 3, and the reason that you chopped up the two most important episodes of Season 2 to put them onto Season 3 was because of budgetary concerns, meaning that, oh boy, there's going to be more problems down the line. Okay, you just make that decision. And then just what we recently seen with The Last of Us, I bet you're just big happy that you greenlit a Season 3 so you could have all the big story beats about Abby. HBO used to be the premier place where you could get high quality premium television events. Now that's happening over at Paramount. Okay, which is wild because they have the entire Taylor Sheridan catalog, all of the Landman, Yellowstone, and all of its spin-offs. Tulsa King, and then they also have Guy Ritchie's stuff. Mobland is a massive hit right now. You got The Gentleman Season 2, I think, and then also, Mobland Season 2 that's out there at a fraction of the price. Netflix is just, they won the streaming wars, but everybody else, man, like HBO is in second place, but it's a distant second place, and you continue to fuck up easy victories because, god damn it, man, for as many lucrative IPs that Disney has, like Warner Brothers, they have some of my favorites, my personal favorites, okay? Case in point, like you have the film adaptation rights for all of Tolkien's work, and you can't do fuck all with it without cranking out abominations like War of the Rohirrim. And you know what? Oh, with all those cool stories that we can tell, you know what we're going to do? We're going to extrapolate on 2 paragraphs, the appendices of Return of the King, and we're going to go with A Hunt for Gollum. What do you fucking doing? God damn it, man. I want Warner Brothers to succeed. Fuck, I want Disney to succeed, okay? Because good stories are intrinsic to a healthy society, and we haven't had good stories in a long time. And if you take a look at the news recently, we don't necessarily have a healthy society. Correlation does not necessarily equal causation, but at this point in time, how many more dots do you need to connect in order to figure out that the entertainment is now officially downstream from culture, and the culture river is fucking polluted? So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Coswell. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.